Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Beowulf. The poem of Beowulf is very interesting. We don't really have an author for this poem. It was written over 1,000 years ago, so the author's name has been lost to history. Now, before I go into summary and analysis of this poem, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. In the story of Beowulf, we get introduced to this Danish kingdom that is ruled by Ralfgard. Ralfgard is this very rich individual. He has a lot of money, a lot of wealth. He's won a lot of wars. And so his kingdom is doing very well. So he builds this feasting hall where everybody comes, all of his men and all of his people. They come, they eat, they feast, they listen to music. They're basically just celebrating and partying, and Grendel, who's this monster that doesn't live that far away from them, he gets interested and he visits. And at first, Grendel is not trying to be a monster. He just wanted to understand human behavior a little bit more. We get to know more about this in the book of Grendel, and we get to know the mind of Grendel a little bit more. But in Beowulf, Grendel is just portrayed to be a monster that is just out to kill. And so in the poem of Beowulf, Grendel just kills and kills, and there's no answer to stop him. Ralfgard doesn't know what to do. Every night, Grendel just basically comes in, kills people, leaves a trail of blood behind, and then wash and repeat. Ralfgard's prayers get answered. If he was praying, if he was not praying, his prayers get answered because Beowulf shows up at his door, and Beowulf really comes to make a name for himself. He helps Ralfgard along the way, but he really came to Ralfgard's kingdom to kill Grendel and make a name for himself. So Beowulf tells everybody that he's going to kill Grendel with his bare hands, and he can do it. And everybody thinks he's crazy and that he can't do it, but Beowulf believes in his abilities and his skills, and so he waits one night while Grendel is having a feast and eating people. He starts fighting with Grendel, and he eventually rips Grendel's arm off. And when Grendel sees that he's dying, he runs out and dies in the wilderness. And Beowulf gives Ralfgard Grendel's arm, and Ralfgard just basically hangs it up for everybody to see. Now, after this victory, Beowulf is given a lot of money, a lot of treasures, a lot of wealth, and everybody's happy. Everybody thinks that that they're gonna have a happy ending, and that's not what happens because Grendel's mom is not happy, and she comes in and she starts killing people left and right. And so Beowulf says, "You know what? I have to kill her too." So after Grendel's mom came in, killed a bunch of people, left a trail of bodies and blood behind, and she even took Grendel's arm and left. Beowulf gathers up his men and they go after her and they track her down to this river. And basically, Beowulf just leaves all of his men behind, which made no sense to me because I'm like, if you gathered up a group of men to go kill a monster and then leave them all behind while you go kill the monster by yourself, then why did you invite them all to come with you? So maybe he just wanted an audience to see how awesome he is. So Beowulf goes into this lake, this river. He swims for a long amount of time. He gets to the bottom of it, and Grendel's mom attacks him. They have a fight. They go into this underwater cave, and this fight just rages on and goes on until Beowulf finds a magic sword and kills Grendel's mom, and then finds Grendel's dead body and cuts Grendel's head off and brings it back to Ralfgard as a trophy. His men were astonished that he survived because, you just fought two monsters in one. So everybody's happy. Everybody sees Beowulf as this great hero, as this individual that cannot die. No monster can defeat him. He's given a lot of stuff, a lot of rewards, a lot of treasure, and he takes his men back home. So the Danish king, he's happy, his land is happy, and Ralfgard, his kingdom just goes back to normal without monsters. So we follow Beowulf back to his home, and he's happy and he starts to live his life, and then the king of his land dies and he becomes the new king of his land, and he survives and thrives with his all of his money and all of his treasure, and his land prospers for 50 years and everything is great. And then somebody from his land steals from a dragon, and dragons are not happy with people stealing from them. So the dragon just starts blazing the mountainside and just starts to try to kill everybody because how dare you steal from me? And so Beowulf is like, you know what? I'm going to kill the dragon now. So Beowulf gathers up more men, and by this point he's kind of older, but he's still going to kill the dragon. So he goes up. A battle starts with a dragon. The dragon bites Beowulf, but that doesn't kill him. It's because the dragon had poison. That's what finally killed Beowulf at the end. But a fight goes on, and Beowulf kills the dragon. So the dragon and Beowulf kill each other. Beowulf, nothing can really kill Beowulf. He just goes into a brawl and somehow he wins and also dies, and he leaves his kingdom a lot of riches, and that's really how his story ends. So at the end, they make him a funeral fire, put a lot of rich stuff on it, a lot of treasure on it, and he dies, and his kingdom goes on. And that's his story. He's this man. The poem just tells us that he's this man that lived to kill monsters. He was well known for killing monsters. He kills Grendel. He kills Grendel's mother. Then when he's like over 50 years old, after killing Grendel's mother and Grendel, he kills a dragon, and then he dies because not because of the bite of the dragon, a massive beast biting you. No, no, it's not because of the bite. It's because the dragon also had poison. I didn't know dragons had poison, but that's what finally kills Beowulf in the end. And so that's how his story ends. Now, in terms of the meaning of this poem, in terms of its significance, I think that Beowulf is like one of the world's first superheroes. This poem was written 1,000 years ago, and the abilities that Beowulf has shows us that he's literally a superhero. He has a lot of strength. He can hold his breath for hours upon hours upon hours. He fights beasts. He must have some sort of healing powers because if dragons are trying to kill you and stab you, if Grendel's mother is trying to kill you and stab you, and Grendel's not a small beast, so he fights these animals and these monsters barehanded and always wins. And even when he's like bitten by a dragon, that doesn't alter like instantly kill him. He's like still talking and still fighting after he gets. It's just Beowulf is a superhero, an ancient superhero that just lived to kill no matter what. The only winner, the only true winner that never dies within the poem of Beowulf is death, because death comes for everybody. Kings die, people die, monsters die, but death always wins. So the poem of Beowulf is quite interesting just because of the fact that um, the role that death plays into it in terms of analysis, the role that death plays into it is very significant. The other thing is like how the a lot of the kings that appear in the story of Beowulf and Beowulf himself, they all gather up so much treasure and so much wealth, but in the end they always lose it all because they have to die. So it says a lot about how they lived. And in a way, money and wealth and treasures were very important to them, but the Danish king Ralfgard, Beowulf, and the other people that appear within the poem of Beowulf, they didn't waste their time with their lives. These individuals or the characters that we see within the poem of Beowulf, they spend a lot of time celebrating and partying for no reason. I mean, after all, Ralfgard built a whole hall to eat and feast and to celebrate and to enjoy his life. So they spend a lot of time partying, a lot of time killing monsters, and pretty much creating a superhero narrative. Because from my perspective, that's what Beowulf is. Just a man who was a superhero who lived his life comfortably, and he died at a very old age, and He killed a dragon at a very old age. So if Beowulf is not a superhero, then I don't know who is. So that's my summary and analysis of the poem Beowulf. I don't know who the author is. No one knows who the author is. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one.